I'll admit that I was a little skeptical going into Sniper Elite 3. I've never been a big fan of military shooters, and I'll often go out of my way to avoid video game sniping. But despite my numerous hang-ups, the ultra-violent sequel instantly won me over and left me eager for more. I guess I wasn't alone, because it didn't take long for 505 Games to come up with new content and release Sniper Elite 3 Ultimate Edition. While fundamentally the same game that was released last year, this Ultimate Edition adds a compelling story arc that is played across 3 new stages. We learn through cinemas that there is a plan to assassinate Winston Churchill, and it's up to Officer Carl Fairburn to get to the bottom of the mystery. He does this by sneaking into an army camp in the dead of night, following the leads to Riff Mountain, and blowing up a tank before it rendezvous with Churchill's convoy. Told from the third-person perspective, this World War II shooter puts a heavy emphasis on sniping and stealth action. Players will need to find the ideal sniping spot and patiently wait for the perfect shot. And if that wasn't enough, we'll also need to factor in the variables, such as wind and bullet drop. It's a process that should have left me ripping my hair out, and yet I had the complete opposite reaction while playing Sniper Elite 3. You may think that the sniping gimmick might be limiting, but that's simply not the case. The levels are enormous, full of tall sniping points, hidden underground tunnels, and multiple paths to every destination. This means you can mess up a shot and still have an easy time running to safety, ready to try the same shot from a different angle. It gets to the point where you're toying with your prey, coming at them from all sides and striking when they least expect it. Perhaps it has something to do with the easy sniping mechanic, but I couldn't get enough of the cat and mouse gameplay. Each level is designed to be played multiple times, and it's clear players can tackle the same objective in completely different ways. As long as you're not getting caught by the Nazi troops, there's no wrong way to play Sniper Elite 3. While the majority of the game involves sniping, I was surprised that the run and gun option was still viable. Players start each stage with 2 weapons designed for closer range combat. There's a pistol and assault rifle, both of which come with limited ammo. This is not Gears of War, and you cannot rush into battle with a machine gun. Your attack plan needs to be strategic. It's easy to get yourself stuck in a situation where soldiers are coming from all sides. This is made worse when you realize just how fragile Carl is. On top of the secondary weapons, our hero has a number of stealth attacks. For example, Carl is able to lay down landmines. He also has a fair amount of grenades and explosives, as well as a rock to distract guards. And much like Naked Snake, the sniper is a master of close-quarter combat. Sniper Elite 3 also gives players a chance to customize their loadout, allowing for different types of sniper rifles and secondary guns. There are also collectibles scattered throughout the stages that unlock more equipment. There's more than enough depth for the gun nut who can't get enough of this era, as well as a novice like myself. I was impressed by not only the variety of missions, but how each location manages to look and feel completely different. Each stage consists of multiple objectives, including a number of optional missions. For example, you may start out looking to uncover the assassin's plot, but will be asked to find and then use the prototype weapon that's found in the enemy base. In another mission, you'll be tasked with destroying a tank, but it will quickly turn into you destroying the whole facility. Sniper Elite 3 Ultimate Edition comes with the 8 stages found in last year's release, as well as 3 additional areas. Each of the 11 stages manages to look completely different, which is no easy feat considering the limited color palette. To my shock, Rebellion has managed a unique look per stage, switching up the time of day and types of locations. In one stage, you'll be sniping on the side of a huge mountain, and yet another stage has players sneaking through enemy camps. The developers use color and lighting in an effective way, and there are moments where I'd actually call the game pretty. Having said that, Sniper Elite 3 looks like an upscaled PlayStation 3 game. The textures are crisp and everything seems to run at a close 50 frames per second, but there's nothing here that couldn't be duplicated on last generation consoles. Between the simple sniping mechanics and the wide open stages, there's a lot of potential for a truly next generation sequel. Did I mention that Sniper Elite 3 is as brutally violent as Mortal Kombat? Not content to simply let you take down enemy soldiers in one shot, the game shows you the bullet's trajectory and what it does to the human body. Framed in glorious slow motion, it sees the bullet rip through the skin, shatter the bones, and explode lungs, eyeballs, and even the heart. It's gross, and yet also incredibly satisfying. Gimmick aside, I was disappointed by the game's bland story. Carl Fairburn is on a mission to stop a secret Nazi weapon, and yet the narrative lacks urgency. There aren't many interesting twists and turns, and the entire story feels like an excuse to take us to different parts of Africa. Big Boss went on a very similar mission in Metal Gear Solid 3, and I assure you the outcome was much more interesting than the paper-thin story found in Sniper Elite 3. And while I enjoyed the large levels and unique missions, I felt like there could be more done with the concept. Even with the optional objectives and different stages, there's a lot of repetition. The whole thing left me intrigued by the idea of a truly next-generation Sniper Elite game, something that fully delivers on the potential. Between the stealth action and the simple sniping mechanics, I had no problem jumping back into Sniper Elite 3. These 3 new stages may not be much, but it whet my appetite for a proper sequel. If you missed out on the game the first time around, this Ultimate Edition package offers a lot of quality content for a reasonable price. It still comes up short of its true potential, but Sniper Elite 3 is a gimmick worth paying attention to. Hey, thanks for watching our review. Did you know we've done 6 reviews in 5 days? That's kind of insane, right? I recommend you subscribe to this channel to see if we post another 6 reviews next week. We'll be back on Monday with a review of Axiom Verge. See you then.